Hey, deserving listeners, Love is Blind, Season 4. Keep in mind that everything I say is completely speculative based on very little information that is provided us. Let's watch.
Yeah, I don't really know how to like start this conversation, but
Oh, God.
Before we got on the plane to leave Mexico, Irina came up to me and kind of like let me know that she has like attraction to you.
So I could see this conversation go in a number of different ways. It's good that Micah is telling Paul. We'll see what the intention is here, or we'll be able to intuit what the intention is. I mean, there's different thoughts on this, I suppose. If your friend came to you and said that they were attracted to your partner, what do? What do you say? Do you reveal it? Well, so Micah's telling Paul. Well, we'll find out, but I could see a lot of people not telling Paul because why does Paul need to know? Or is Micah saying, if you're attracted to Irina, I don't know, what?
And I don't know, it just like made me feel really weird. Did you like have any like indication that she was like into you, like in Mexico?
When we went to the pool party and she was like kind of like handsy, like touching my leg and stuff. And I was just like, you know what? That's weird, but I didn't think anything of it. Zach was standing like right next to us. And so I was just like, surely like he wouldn't be trying to make a actual like move on me.
Okay, yeah, again, it's hard to know what Irina was doing. You know, some people are kind of that way, for better or for worse. But given what we saw from Irina, and her literally telling people, including Micah, and I guess good for Irina for telling Micah, I think, right? It's probably better that Irina say something. But I said this at the time that under most circumstances, if you are attracted to your friend's partner, particularly if they're engaged and planning to spend the rest of their life together, but you know, who knows about what's really happening in this relationship, then generally speaking, you want to try to deal with that attraction in a way that doesn't harm other people, including yourself, but other people, which means that you can have an attraction, even to feel a little bit of a crush or a little bit of chemistry with someone. It's another thing to entertain it. We can't do anything about our feelings that emerge without our control. We can do something about entertaining it. For example, touching him, talking to him are things that she has control over. Entertaining the idea, what if me and Paul got together? Those kinds of things are controllable. The emergence of that feeling of what if Paul and I were together, you know, that first initial wave of compulsive crushitude, we don't have control over. But what do we do after? We are responsible for that.
Kind of put like doubt in my head about like where we're at.
Wait, what? So the fact that her friend has a crush on Paul makes Micah question her relationship with Paul? Why? What? If my friend was attracted to my wife, I wouldn't be like, it really makes me question my marriage, huh?
And I was just like, you know what? That's weird, but I didn't think anything of it. Zach was standing like right next to us. And so I was just like, surely like he wouldn't be trying to make a actual like move on me.
Kind of put like doubt in my head about like where we're at. I don't know. It just like made me think like, was there like more that went on that I didn't know about?
I definitely have no intention or desire of.
Oh, yeah. So could Micah think, well, why would Irina be attracted to Paul? Did Paul do something to encourage that? I don't think we saw any evidence of that. Maybe it happened, maybe it didn't, but we didn't see any evidence of it. And Irina didn't say anything along those lines. So I could imagine Micah having that question. But I also wonder if Micah's just looking for a way out, because either when she met Paul, she was like, yeah, I'm not really feeling it, which is totally fine. Or she never intended to come on this show and look for her soulmate to begin with. I mean, the way that Irina and Micah acted, I wouldn't be surprised if, truthfully, behind the scenes, they were like, no, I'm not going to marry someone on this show. That's ridiculous. No, they're free to do that. And of course, it's a entertainment show. But for me as a viewer, it's a lot more entertaining and satisfying to watch when people are in it to win it. And of course, we know that many people are in it to win it because they actually do get married and do spend their time with each other afterwards. And it's also harmful to others because the others might be in it to win it. And if you're just playing a game, then yikes. But I don't know. I can't know what's in Micah's heart and mind.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. You're my fiance, you're an extension of me.
Yeah.
And it's like, at this point, you know, if what you like are saying is true and there's not like something I like don't know about, or like there's not like unresolved feelings like on your end, then like at this point I feel like it's between her and I
feel bad for Zach, like Zach's.
That's good. So Micah is believing. I think Paul's pretty easy to believe. He doesn't seem like the sort of person that would do that. We don't know, but there wasn't really an indication of that sort of thing from Paul. Actually, Paul's kind of a hard one to figure out to begin with because he doesn't offer up much. He seems to be, as I was saying earlier, kind of oblivious on a certain level, or he just doesn't want to get involved in the drama things. Like at the pool, him and Zach just bounced, which I could see myself doing in a situation like that. I could be like, people are drinking. There seems to be some kind of weird flirting going on. How about we just go over here? I didn't even know that was an option. I thought they would force them to stay at the pool and interact. So I could see him. So it could be a choice, a mature choice, a differentiated choice of just like, I just don't want to get involved in that. Or he is on the more oblivious side. Some people are. Some people are just so mellow and so unobservant that they just don't pick up on things. Things will just go right past them.
like he's like easy to like laugh at, but I mean everything that he's done, like that she's like been really turned off about, he was doing that same exact stuff in the pods. The only difference is now she can like see his face, you know? I feel like I've been like guilty of kind of like laughing along at like the whole like.
Okay, I'm going to rewind this because this is a key moment with Micah. So what is she saying here? Let's listen carefully.
Like laugh at, but I mean everything that he's done, like that she's like been really turned off about, he was doing that same exact stuff in the pod.
Right. That's one way of looking at it. There's a lot of other things you could say along these lines, meaning that when Irina was like, "You're creepy, stop looking at me, you're not blinking enough," you're just like, huh? I'm looking at my soulmate? Did we not just propose to each other? Can I not look at you? Is that so? There's a lot of things in that category, and Micah is now recognizing like, Irina, her point of view was off, and at the time in the pods or even at the honeymoon, I was, I guess, going along with it and laughing at Zach. I guess maybe she should apologize to Zach too. I don't know though. So I've had other moments, other hallelujah moments with Micah, or at least moments of optimism, a little break in the clouds of, oh, maybe she does have maturity and does have empathy and does have compassion, does have concern about how other people feel. So, and she's certainly exhibiting it here, but then all that would just be completely destroyed by her behavior later on, which would throw everything into question that either she is of two minds, not psychologically, but, you know, she has a debate in her mind that she will exhibit one side or the other, meaning one side of her has compassion and goodwill towards others, another side of her does not? Or is she always thinking the more immature, harmful side of things, but then she acts like this to come across a certain way? Or the opposite, where this is the real her, so to speak, and the other side of it was out of nervousness or coping, or Irina was influencing her? I don't know, but this is a very interesting disclosure from her.
Like laughing along at like the whole like Zach thing, because he's like such a character, but like when it comes down to it, I feel like he did come into this very open, and yeah, he might be like extremely goofy, but like that's his genuine self.
It is.
Like, you know.
And that's what I love about him, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that wasn't as hallelujah as I thought it was going to be. So she's saying, maybe I'm guilty of laughing at him, but he was just being himself. And I think Irina was, I mean, she's not saying this explicitly. I don't know what she's saying explicitly, but I was hoping at first that she was saying, I have a problem with laughing at people when I shouldn't. But she's not. She's saying about Zach, and she's being kind of surface with it. What I would be more satisfied with, even if we're just talking about the Zach situation, is, in addition to what she said there, which is a good kind of foundation, is to say, yeah, and I was cruel in not only what I was doing behind his back, but in front of other people, maybe even to his face. I was mean, and I feel bad about that, and I owe him an apology. So that would be much more satisfying than what we heard. Also, to expand that of, and I was mean to a lot of people. I was mean to you and that I was flirting with Kwame, like right in front of you, essentially. And I'm working on that, or I have an issue with that, or I don't know.
I will say that whenever she was like kind of coming on to me at the pool, one of the reasons why I didn't like immediately call her out in front of everyone is that like I feel very secure with our relationship. I feel like I know you really well.
You make me feel so confident.
We don't know what their relationship is like behind the scenes. We just see what they choose to film and edit into the show. And of course, they do kind of mess with the edit a little bit. But I'm imagining a lot of people hearing Paul say that are surprised by that. Like, well, if you saw the scene at the pool, I don't know if you would. So, yeah, it's a big question. Did he see it? He wasn't at the pool at the moment, seemingly, so maybe he didn't see it at all. Or if he did see it, maybe it looked more innocent from afar than it was. Certainly with us, with the zoom-in lens, looking at the two of them, I mean, they were looking at each other with a lot of, I don't know what word, romantic eye stuff. Put that on a Hallmark card. When I see you, I have romantic eye stuff. But who knows, intoxicated, they were just, like it. So as an analogy to that, say you get engaged and you're in love and you feel ready to meet up with a former partner, and you meet up with them and you were really close. You had a lot of closeness and you miss them, but you don't want to be with them. And you have a couple drinks and you have a little connection. You have a little romantic eye stuff connection, but ultimately you don't want to be with them in another lifetime. Maybe you would try it out, but you really love your current partner. Could that be what happened? Certainly. The way it looked was a lot worse. The possibilities are endless, but the top at the list for me are Micah and Kwame are both not sure about their current partners, and thus their heart is still open to entertaining other ideas. They still feel single. Another hypothesis is that it takes a while for our full body, mind, and spirit to adjust to a long-term relationship. I've talked about this before, but in brief, I've been with my wife many, many years, and so I dream about myself as a married person. I operate as a married person. I don't think of myself as a single person, but when we first meet people, we might commit to someone and our body and our mind hasn't really adjusted to that. Our conscious mind has. We know, yes, I'm committed. I'm no longer on the market. It's me and this person. I don't want to be with anyone else. But you put a couple of drinks in you and you might not exactly resonate with that reality, especially if you're on the fence, especially if it's brand new, that kind of thing. So it could have been that. It could have just been like a temporary lapse of their felt understanding of their commitment to their current partners. It also, I don't like this being on the list, but it is, unfortunately, that Micah is playing a game of some sort, that she's trying to, I don't know. It's really awful to think about, but that hypothesis is out there. The more I see of this behavior, the less I think that is what Micah was doing, but who knows? There's evidence that Micah isn't taking it seriously and that she's just playing a game, that she's not really interested in Paul. She wasn't really interested in Kwame. I mean, interested in the fact of dating, interested, but not soulmate, married for the rest of my life interested. And so she sees Kwame and she's just like, I would like Kwame to like me right now. I don't care about long-term consequences to what this means, but I'm going to zero in on Kwame and I just want to flirt with him and I want him to flirt back with me. That's a good way of putting that, right? Instead of like a grand manipulator of relationships, which I don't think she is likely that. It's more probably that of just like, I could imagine Micah going on the show and thinking, well, if I meet a soulmate, great, but I probably won't. And everyone understands that reality TV is a joke, right? So I'll go on it, because The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, I don't know, and I don't watch that show. I've watched it on this channel a few times, but I talked with people who were on the show, actually, and they were telling me that, and I don't want to implicate anybody, but the impression I got was that a lot of people go on The Bachelor and The Bachelorette without actually intending on spending the rest of their life with someone, especially in the later years. Maybe in the first number of seasons, people went on the show for that reason, but over time, it's become kind of understood that it's just kind of a game show that isn't real. Certainly there are some people that get married and stay married. I don't know the statistics. Maybe they all get married and stay married forever. I highly doubt that. But anyway, so maybe Micah is just like, yeah, everyone understands that this is not real and it's just a stepping stone to your career. And, maybe you'll meet the love of your life, but it's not likely. So let's have fun. And then goes on the show and thinks that everyone else is operating from that place because she's mistaken or she's young or whatever. And maybe that's why she was laughing at Jackie, because when Jackie was crying, because she thinks like, why is Jackie having this reaction? In fact, my wife threw out this hypothesis, in this scene. It's like maybe Micah and Irina were laughing because to them, they're like, you're taking this seriously? And then when Amber got dumped, right, by Paul, and Irina and Micah were ridiculing Amber and sneaking around trying to listen, that for them, they thought, well, this is all just a joke. It's just a game that we're playing. We're all trying to vie for people to like us or to be the particular sort of person that we want to be. And me and Irina, we're like the rebels, or I don't know, who knows what it's total speculation. I have no idea. But you can imagine that happening. And then when she commits to Paul, she's like, well, I'm not really committing to Paul. Everyone understands that, even though not everyone understands that, including Paul, potentially. And then when she sees Kwame, she's just like, oh, I want to flirt with him because I really liked him. I don't want to spend the rest of my life with Kwame either, but, let's just flirt. Everyone gets it. Paul will flirt with someone else. It doesn't matter. Like, we could see someone thinking that by mistake. I don't think very many people on the show think that way. Who knows? But maybe Shake felt that way a little bit. There was some evidence of that. Now, even that perspective would be letting Micah off the hook a little bit, but it doesn't really let her off the hook completely, because why would you think that? And even if you did, why would you do what you did? Like, even if you think that Jackie is overreacting or Amber is overreacting, why would you do that? Why would you laugh and ridicule and talk crap about them and sneak up on them and laugh like you're 13 and trying to overhear something? Like, it doesn't justify any of that behavior.
Feels all right. You really.
Now, I want to be clear. What I'm saying does not mean that anyone should attack her or bully her or go into her DMs and try to make her feel bad, or even in her comment section. That is not what I'm saying. We all have our issues. She has hers, you have yours, I have mine, Paul has his, and some of our issues are more noticeable on reality TV. There's nothing wrong or criminal or evil about Micah and Irina, I don't think. And the consequences of what is happening are not great, but not on the level that would deserve any kind of hostility or hurt or trying to tear someone down. That is completely not justified. If I ran into Micah, or if I were to interview her on this podcast, and by the way, I'm trying to get the cast members on this YouTube channel. I think it would be interesting. I mean, they're in Seattle, so they could literally come to my studio and actually talk in person. So I am trying that. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, because there's pros and cons for me to do that sort of thing of various levels. But I have so many questions that never get answered in the tell-alls and the other interviews that they're in. And, I would take it easy on them. I'm just curious about a lot of things, and I think it'd be interesting content too. So if you're one of the cast members and you want to come on, then, or even past cast members, I would, I think it'd be interesting. It would be interesting to me. It would also potentially be illuminating to others to see like what's really going on with people that would cause these things that are confusing to people. Anyway, and if you want to DM some of these folks, or if you know some of these folks, and you could communicate with them, because I'm guessing they're getting a lot of inquiries. Maybe they don't want to come on my stupid little channel, but who knows. So if I were to talk with Micah, I would not in my head be thinking that she's a horrible human being at all. At all. I'd just be like, people have their issues, I have mine. All right, well, if you didn't know, we have merch. You can click the link below. I'm also on Cameo if you want to give a shout out to someone or a pep talk. I can't provide therapy, of course, over Cameo, but, sometimes there's general things that I can say. And I've also proposed for people before, which is pretty amazing. So if you want a Cameo, I don't know, it feels nice to be a part of people's lives in that way. It's silly, but I don't know. It's kind of nice. And take care of yourself, because you deserve it. You really, really do.